Azir taken off of the board, the cream of the crop for mid lane really is gone.
Very true. And we get the Vi band again, the Azir band too. We'll see what this first pick is going to be looking like for BLG. Does mean W will be working with the counter pick and how they want to kind of dissect that early phase in the first phase, at least, of picks and bans, is going to tell us a lot of what they want in that second phase. A couple of big picks still left on the table, though. We'll see which one BLG want to go with. Usually you want something kind of like a centerpiece with this first one. And would be a nice start to the draft as the Orianna comes through for Knight.
Yeah, it was burned away by BLG with their first ban last time around, so letting this one through, picking it up for Knight, a champion he's been very good on as well, and just gives you so much survivability in the mid lane and then control later on into the game. The response from WE, again, getting aggressive. One of the two champions we highlighted, the Yanara or the Varus, is something you can take to your opponents, and I really like this one being locked in. I was going to say, if you want to play an aggressive style, Karis, his only good champion, I would argue, is the Akali, and so I like that he's going to be able to lock this one in. And into the Orianna matchup, it's pretty safe. You're not getting pushed around too badly, and you can go roam around very effectively.
Yeah, if you don't have the Akali card in the LPL, what are you even doing here? I do like the carry potential. The downside can be a little bit tough, and right now BLG have some insanely strong individual picks as well. The Pantheon for Shun, a huge one. We also get the Jace locked in for Bin.
And you can just take the fight to your opponents right now. I like the fact that Bin gets his Jace because it's been one of his most played champions, and there's really not anything that WE can play that actually wins into this lane matchup. Now, you could potentially end up in a situation where Bin's pushing too far forwards, and you can once again try to gank onto this lane as Monki. That is a potential option, but I just don't know if, again, that's going to be a good way to play the game if you want to translate it into a win. Monki is going to grab his Trundle. Now, when I think of kind of iconic Monki pickups, the Viego, like you said, the Skarner, and then the Trundle, something he's been incredibly good on, ganks surprisingly well. And if he does want to put a lot of focus down into the bottom side of the map, that really unlocks you to just take the fight to your opponents. Now, BLG, they're getting the counter with their bot lane, so you don't have to be so worried about it from BLG, but it at least gives WE something to play around.
Yeah, and again, comfort is king, I feel like, in a lot of these situations. So being able to see Monki pull out the Trundle once again, I'm very curious at this early game, especially, and how he tries to use some of the skirmishing potential. But it is in the second phase that we see the Sivir ban by WE, and we'll be waiting on BLG's second phase ban, at least coming through now.
Whenever you've been seeing WE picking up this Varus, they've been pairing up alongside quite aggressive bot laners. I mean, they really do like to grab this one and then go aggressive into their opponents, potentially even pick themselves up something like the Alistar, which, you know, could be interesting. I think if you're going to try something like that, you got to be very sure in yourself being able to take the fight to your opponents, which, are you sure in this situation? Viper and On have been the weaker members overall of BLG. I like the double bot lane bans coming through, specifically the Lulu. There's no reason to give a Lulu over to this composition. If there was ever a chance of you being able to kill onto a Pantheon jumping into your backline, Wild Growth was just going to snap that one straight in half, and it also takes the shine off a lot of these other later scaling, hyper scaling carries in the bot lane that Viper could potentially be looking towards.
I do wonder what Viper wants to go with here. If it's going to be something a little bit more safe for that duo lane. If he wants to go for something a little bit more aggressive, the Nautilus is going to be banned by BLG, so full supportal focus in that second phase from both sides. WE going to be waiting to see exactly who they want to keep their counter pick for. Is it going to be just trying to figure out what this support matchup is going to be, at least for Arha?
Yeah, I mean, right now, they're just going to lock themselves in that Cassante top lane. Again, another champion that Cube will at least attempt to go even onto. In terms of safety, you've really only got yourself the Xayah as the remaining option to play a little bit further back and not try to get too aggressive into your opponents. If you do that, you can probably pair it up alongside one of those engaged supports. If you want to take the fight to your opponents, though, the Corki is going to be the option right here, and I do think this one makes just a little bit more sense overall. Now, you do tend to want to pair this alongside an Enchanter in terms of good ones left. The Nami kind of springs to mind as that top tier of pickup that people have been playing towards. But that does leave you as a pretty overall squishy composition, and I do wonder if you want a little bit more tankiness, a little bit more engage potentially to come through.
Could also go with the middle ground with the Rakan. It's always kind of like the sweet spot between Enchanter and Engager. I love it because I saw Bin just chuckling whenever the Cassante got locked in. I don't know if that was because of the Cassante or because of something somebody said, as we do end up getting the Rakan locked in. But I think Bin's feeling himself going to this one on his Jays.
Oh yeah, he's going to be looking to really take the fight to Cube, and with the K'Sante, right, yeah, a really good K'Sante player can fight back and can find some pretty big angles to come and play into you, but not so sure that that's what Cube is, and Bin obviously knowing this matchup pretty dang well. For WE, they really need to round themselves out with just, I think, a little bit of extra aggression, a little bit of extra damage overall out of the play.
Yo, okay. Arha, you Chad.
Okay.
Camille support. My goat.
Okay. I mean,
this is
I said
Game 5 World Finals for WE right now.
Oh my lord. Alright. So, the Camille going to be locked in down on the bottom side of the map. And I really quite like this, because usually one of the big problems you run into alongside a Rakan lane is you just can't do anything to him. He jumps away, he leaves you instantaneously, and, well, what do you do at this point? Well, the Camille gives you that ability to lock down. With that wall dive, you can also just chase the Rakan, and you can get away from the Rakan when he jumps in towards you as well. If you time it well with your ulti, you can give yourself that second of untargetability that means you just get to walk away from a lot of these engages, and it just gives you that extra bit of aggression alongside that Varus, where if the Varus pins somebody down with the ulti, you get to go in, you can lock them down in the ult, and you can play this one along. This is something to at least play around right here out of WE.
Can WE find a win in their home arena of Xi'an against BLG in game number 2?
Okay. Let's go. Come on, WE. Let's see it. Surely, you can pick yourselves up a win right here. You've got a composition that's aggressive, that's interesting. I mean, now, look at this right as well. Out of the bot lane, you've also got the electrocute onto the Akali, so you're looking to get aggressive right here as Karis too. So, lots to potentially try to play around, and I think the initial 5-7 minutes are going to be incredibly important going forwards in this game.
Priority is going to be king, it feels like, as a little bit of pushing going on in the bot side so far. I will note, though, opposite side starts for both junglers. So, Shun is actually pathing away from bot lane right now. Could wrap back around, obviously, but could also be looking at some solo lane focus early on in this game.
I think you're allowed to, as BLG, play around the other lanes if you want to. I don't think you need to. I think you could probably find yourself some pretty big wins individually as Knight or Bin without the intervention of your jungler, but if you do get this Pantheon involved, could be pretty nice. But also, starting on the bottom side of the map doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to play around the bottom side. Full clear top side. Take a reset through. Early aggression coming through and on, taking a huge chunk of damage.
Does heal up a decent amount as Arha. Always threatening a little bit of an engage there, obviously. Oh, on missing the quill. Won't get the heal through. Waves in a little bit of an awkward spot, but Arha does have a bit of an angle here. Monkey is looking for an immediate all the way wrap around gank of the bot side. He's going deep. Viper goes forward. They're trying to get as much damage off as they can. They're going to get the news too late, though, and Viper and Honor are in some serious trouble now. Viper tries to go for the kill, but he's just going to be smacked by a stick. About will not go down, and first blood to Monkey.
I think they were really trying to get that first blood over onto About, but the tower shot just going to take a little bit too much damage off of Viper. And still, really nice early gank from Monkey, getting himself that kill, getting aggressive early on. And that's the risk with pathing up towards the top side of the map right here. Out of Jun, he just takes himself out of the right place at the right time. Early quick kill coming through, and with About with that teleport, gets straight back into the lane, keeps the wave in a good spot for himself, and they can just keep the pressure high on this bot lane.
So far, so good for WE. As able to get the combo play on the bot side. Shun will be spotted going up towards his top, though. And so that Scuttle Crab will just be his. TP coming back out into the lane from Cube. We do have Dragon coming up in about a minute's time as Viper going to have to flash out. Still gets hook shotted, still gets piercing arrowed, and Arha beautifully flashes out, but still gets hit by the grand entrance. Still doesn't matter much as Monkey's wrapping around again. They've already found 2 kills onto the centerpiece AD carry and Viper on BLG, and they might try to find another onto On. That's going to be a nice kill to Monkey as the Arcane Comet didn't even need to be there. Monkey finds himself a second.
And Jun gonna pick up this massive minion wave, but that's not gold. That's not XP going on into Viper for the most part. And that just really sucks overall for the BLG bot lane. This is exactly what we'd been talking about in the previous game. Why are you playing around the top side? Why are you playing around mid? It doesn't matter what these solo laners are doing. For WE, it is all about this bot lane, and the fact that you now get a good chunk of gold and extra XP into the back pocket of a bout is awesome. Unfortunately, he's not being able to pick up any of these 3 kills that have gone down. His jungler and his support picking all of those up, but just this alone time with these waves is going to be worth its weight in gold.
Arha is also just mind melting BLG there, having multiple angles where he's kind of just messing with them and still able to get that lockdown. You really need to respect the Camille early on, and you see Arha finding angles here.
Just walking at people, right, in this situation. And we talked about during the draft phase how that initial flash out of Viper was going to be incredibly important to get rid of. Well, in that first gank, he didn't even blow his flash. He knew that he was dead, so you have to blow it that second time. Now, you still got about 3/4 of that timer still left to come back up again. We'll see if there's going to be a repeat gank, because Monki, once again, on the bottom side of the map. We've also got this initial Chemtech Drake available as well. The response out of Jun is to head towards the top side of the map right now, but Cube, he's got the wave in a good spot. He's playing a tanky Cassante. Overall, able to just absorb the pressure at the moment, and that's all he really needs to do. Just don't cost your bot lane, because once again, Monki coming in.
Oh, man. I mean, they don't have many tools to get out of this time. That is going to be troublesome as Valkyrie gets used. Viper trying to get away, but the piercing arrow finds him nonetheless. About gets himself a kill too, and everybody's part of the party on the bot side now as WE is going to go for the dragon.
There we go, About finally picking himself up that kill, and now with all of that pressure you've got down on the bottom side of the map, just going to be picking up this early Drake. And I mean, look, Mazel, at the amount of vision down on the bottom side of the map. It is all over for WE, whereas BLG, they've got a ton of darkness to be trying to play around. Now, Jun is still in the area, not going to be able to get into the pit to try to steal this one away, and this is such a significantly better early game out of WE that I don't even know if they know how to play from this kind of advantage.
It's such an interesting position to be in. WE making things happen off the back of this Camille support and Monki's total focus on the bot lane. Shun's going to come down here, try to put a band-aid on Viper and on. But it's not going to mean too much here. Monki will end up completing his back. That will be a nice chunk of gold being spent by the jungler of WE.
He's getting himself well towards that first item. Those 2 initial kills going to be very useful, but also all of the time Monki spent ganking, it's not like Jun's been able to establish himself a big CS lead either. He's up by a couple of CS. He's got a few more camps to be able to clear away, but it's not like Jun's been able to get into his jungle, steal away some camps, really punish him for this early aggression. This is kind of the difference we've been spotting throughout these first 2 games with Monki back over Tyrion, is that Tyrion, as much as he was good and aggressive and played around his bot lane, he wasn't particularly good at doing it off of timer with camps, and was beginning to fall behind quite badly in terms of CS. Monki doing a much better job overall of being able to keep even in that regard, and then got all of that advantage out of kills, and that's reflecting in the gold lead. They didn't really establish themselves a gold lead at all in the previous game, did WE, but now up by about 1,000 gold, pretty evenly split across a couple of these different lanes, but a big chunk of that right now on their jungler, on Monki, who's back in the lineup.
And that's the important story to kind of cover here, is Monki has fluctuated, obviously, with Tyrion coming in for a couple series, wondering what was going to happen with Monki, this guy who was a superstar coming up to the tier 1 scene, and now trying to struggle to find his feet under himself. He is the one to look at here in game number 2 on his Trundle. Obviously, a little bit of a comfort there, and so far with total neutral objective control.
He's been all over the map right now, and a big part of that is the fact that Arha has been incredible so far on this Camille pick, right? Like you said, it's his first play on this champion competitively, although, you know, we'd imagine he plays a lot of it during solo queue and practice. You don't want to just be pulling this one out and first timing it down in the support role on the stage versus BLG, and you can see it in the way that he's been super aggressive with this one, just constantly jumping forwards. About
nice flash play coming in from BLG, and that is the power of Shun's Pantheon, not even able to react to the Grand Starfall. The flash came out as soon as it hit.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact that About now loses out on that flash, still ends up dying, does have the teleport back up and available, I think, so should be able to just get himself back into the lane, not miss out onto too much. This is what ends up happening, though, whenever you've got yourself a support that likes roaming around, like the Camille does. Not having any support for yourself down in that bottom lane does just expose you to being a little bit more vulnerable, and BLG at least managed to get themselves onto the board.
Little things coming back towards BLG starts to make you wonder how stable is this early game that WE have put together. Still waiting on this first item, but first and foremost, Monki has his first item. Trinity forces on, just gets caught backing. We'll get on the other side of the pillar of filth there, but Monki, man, he's on trend for us. He is vibing.
This is the Monki that we loved throughout the last year. He was super aggressive, constantly just overrunning his opponents, playing with such a pace that it felt like his opponents could never really step up and get things going for themselves. And if you can keep this pace up, you know, keep BLG uncomfortable. They've shown us that they don't really have a good way of getting back into games sometimes when they do begin to fall behind, or even when they do establish leads. There have been some just odd moments out of BLG where they're attacking, they're defending, they don't really know what it is that they're trying to play around. So at the same time, I'm holding a lot of caution in my heart here for WE, because they haven't been able to keep expanding this gold lead out further and further. In fact, they've had what was a 1,000 gold lead cut back down to about 500, and their mid games have been pretty poor overall, not really been able to set up a vision around objectives, play out flank situations particularly well either. So WE, they've got a lot to clean up, they've got a lot to prove to us to be able to win this first game for themselves of the year. But if they're able to do it right here, this is a pretty good early start to make that happen.
We're going to have more neutrals coming up here, obviously about 45 or less for the next dragon. We did a really good job of getting that early dragon, and also, more importantly, setting up the vision and control around that. As Viper, he's in trouble. Hextech Ultimatum came through, but Arha might have bitten off a little bit more than he could chew.
Oh, but
that's going to be a nice pillar. Viper's going to flash. Monki should be able to run him down in a big chomp of the teeth as Viper goes down for a fourth time 11 minutes into the game.
I mean, it costs Arha both of his summoners, but he's able to limp away. That's the joys of the Camille with that extra level of mobility. And they're going to be able to grab another kill going on over to Monki. 3-0-1 at this point. Trinity Force completed, so he is a big boy at this point. Will be ripping heads off of people whenever he's close enough. And with that Subjugate available as well, you can just steal away that level of tankiness from Jun and make these plays that much more terrifying for BLG to try to play around. The next Drake is available on the board as well. And Knight now stepping a bit too far forwards, flashing out, and he will at least live.
Shouldn't found about again. Jesus, man.
With the ulti again.
If you find water in a well, you go back to that well. And Shun has found that well in about.
Absolutely, and this is really, really rough right here. About not able to pick up a lot of the kills that were happening in his lane early on. Now dying 2 times, really just stopping any of that stacking he was getting through from really being able to keep on going. Viper just going to have to jump away a little bit.
Not 05, not 05, not 05, not 05. Slayer, if you're looking somewhere, look away. Our GOAT is not having a good time. 0-5 for Viper early into this game.
Yep, and I mean, it may well be 0-7 for him at this point, right? I don't know how he's going to be able to claw his way back into this game. Really just slipping further and further behind. Not so far in terms of the CS, although this much grey screen is going to begin to reflect poorly as we go further and further into this game. And it does mean that this bottom lane at Drake should be nice and easy to pick up, although the resets are coming on through, and BLG, they do look like they want to fight.
Big piercing arrow from about. There's a lot of poke damage coming in. Monkey's getting a little bit lower though.
Smite fight.
Karis coming around. Shun not going to go for the smite fight. It's just going to be the exit from on. They're unable to get the pick on the back end of it, and that will be second dragon secured for WE.
Oh, all right. We'll have a look back at what it is that happened here, but yeah, really, there's nothing you can do as Viper. At the point at which you don't have a flash available to you and you get slowed by the pillar, you are just going to be dead, and the combo between these two means they've got so much range to be able to get you from, right? Not a lot of ganking combos are able to pick you up when you're playing that far back, but between the Camille and the Trundle pillar, not going to be too tricky to just grab on top of this Corki. His flash only halfway towards being back up, and it's pretty much been down throughout this entire game so far, Mazel.
Yeah, it's been a little bit of a toughie. I've never been a big believer in the LPL Corki. But,
I don't like it.
Hold my bias aside.
I'm not such a big fan. I think people play it in a way that it works when you play quite aggressive, but they play too aggressive. I mean, it's the LPL. You're going to fight constantly, and sometimes the Corki can struggle just a little bit. Still, I'd like to draw attention up to what's been happening in the one lane we haven't looked at all, the top lane right now. Bin has a 1,100 gold lead at this point through just turret
sheer
plating?
force
It must
of
be.
will?
Yeah, like he's not even up by much CS.
He's just aura farming.
It's all
Dude,
turret plating.
that's insane. I mean, it definitely is turret plating, but it's still just insane to think about. As we did get the redeploy from Shun on the bot side just to potentially scatter out the hopes of WE. But yeah, that top lane will be something that WE need to answer for later on in the game.
Yes, very much so, because right now, whilst Bin is just continuing to push Cube around, it's fine. Cube doesn't really care. He's been able to grab himself that first item. Yeah, he's not grabbed any turret plates, really, but this top lane tower will fall pretty soon.
Nice
Okay, gets the flash.
From Bin.
Hey, but that's good. I like this from Arha so far. He has played so aggressive, and I like that he's getting involved in some of these other lanes as well. And you need to get that flash away from Bin, because at the point at which Bin gets back into the lane, right, he's nearly fully stacked up that tier. He's got himself that moves already. He just flashes into your backline, and About will evaporate. Karis will evaporate, right? These are champions that will not be able to stand up to that amount of damage. So at least having that flash gone gives you a little bit of extra breathing room as WE.
Oh, I'm gonna be a little careful. BLG feeling frisky though. There is the Rift Herald on the table. WE could go for 4 neutral objectives in a row, as it does look like a back and TP will be there from Bin. I think BLG is still contemplating here. See if they end up wanting to go in. Double TP is actually going to be there. Rift Herald getting a little bit low. Actually want to try to find an entrance here. Finally a late TP from WE, but it will be in time. Rift Herald does go over to WE, so that's 4 neutral objectives in a row and a lot of standing gold. Still under 1,000 gold lead for them, but it's something, and we're past the 15-minute mark now too.
Yeah, and they've been able to just maintain this gold lead that they were able to establish for themselves early on and not lose out onto it. And in that play, Knight and Bin both teleporting in for nothing, absolutely zero. You do also have teleports down on a couple of your members, but it's going to be up far sooner for Cube, and About also has one for himself. So when it comes to pushing out these side lanes, getting that rotation around the map, you're just in a far better spot right now as WE. And this may be it. They are doing everything in their power right now to make this game work for them. Karis gonna look to throw it away a little bit.
Yeah, I thought that they were not going to be around. He does get out with a nice little perfect execution exit with the flash. Arha's here. Nice Grand Starfall usage to get out of there. Rift Herald did get plopped in the top side, so that turret should be a little bit of a goner, as About might also be joining that turret in the afterlife. He should be fine for now. It looks like just the plating was the focus for BLG. They're not going to go for a dive. That turret in the top side is going to go WE's way.
Yeah, they're going to be able to pick this one up. I do wonder if Monki was chucking down that Rift Herald to potentially use it as an engage tool. Unfortunately for him, Jun just pops the Grand Starfall, goes and leaps away, but at least that's a Grand Starfall being used that isn't onto About's head to pick up a kill onto this virus. And with extra gold going on over, you've now expanded that gold lead out 1,500. That's the furthest ahead WE have been throughout this entire series so far. And it means that things are happening for them. Reset's coming on through though, because 20 seconds until the next Drake is available. And right now, WE, they have no vision established around the bottom side of the map at all.
And BLG are getting to a point where they are going to be contesting over the objective. It was a little bit antsy there on the Rift Herald, but a 3rd dragon in a row for WE on an Infernal Soul would be so massive. BLG already front and center, but Monki, he didn't expect for the entire team to be here. He's going to have to flash. He's going to try to find an exit. On can't really do much after the charm went through. Shun is just overcommitting, does find the kill, but he'll get traded down here nonetheless. Karis going to find that kill. No smite on the board. Both BLG and WE trying to fight over this control of the river.
And they both end up losing out onto their junglers. And in that play right there, About just missing the Chains of Corruption means that you do end up losing onto Monki. Monki would have been able to limp away from that play, surprisingly tanky at this point in the game. At least he's going to head back to base, now has 2 items completed, so going to be coming back out onto the map as a real menace. But it does mean that this Drake will survive, and you've now got a reset through from both teams, and we're likely going to do this whole thing all over again.
Except we have 2 items now. Power scaling. Oh, little catch out onto Arha. He is not very tanky. That's something you gotta remember as the Camille. His threatening engage is there though. That's always gonna be the bread and butter of Arha in this game. We are getting surrounded here around the dragon. It's gonna be a little bit of vision play from Monki and WE. Still got to get some bodies down here, and Cube's not going to be anywhere nearby. Both TPs are available for the top laners. BLG started it. It's going to be an immediate jump onto Monki, and he gets executed by Sun. The TP's now coming in, but it's so late, but it might be enough. The health bar is going to be pretty thick from Cube. He's going to be okay for now. The shield from the TP unleashed is going to be big.
Bot lane.
Karis in a little bit of trouble on the bot side, but now the dragon going to be restarted up by BLG, and they should just have this one.
Monki getting caught 2 fights in a row. Karis, he's just going to get run down here.
Ben, he went overzealous here. He's going to get chased down. Does flash away from the perfect execution, but gets the shurikens to the back, and Shun comes in to watch his dead body, as that's going to be BLG now getting surrounded in bot side. Oh, Arha. Okay, well, we didn't get to see that play very well, but Arha went in and he died. Unfortunate.
Yep, it looked like there was a case right there of flankers being flanked, and eventually BLG gonna come out on top of that one. They also picked themselves up the Drake, so stop it from being sole point over to WE. And really, you can put that play squarely on Monki's shoulders. He steps way too far forwards right there. Doesn't have the support of the rest of his team. It's exactly what happened to him in the previous fight around this exact same dragon. But in that situation, he had the flash to get away. In this one, he does not. Yes, you're ending up using a shockwave on a single target, but there's no real way to keep playing this fight out. And I love this aggression from Bin right here, chasing Karis out, because Karis, looking for a flank, could potentially have gotten in and found a way onto the backline, who had blown a lot of their tools, but instead pushes him away. This though, over aggressive. This is what you expect out of Bin. When he thinks he's got a way in, he's gonna go.
A little bit of turret trading, at least. Bot side turret went down in favor of BLG. Oh, Q, you didn't want to stop him there? He just didn't want that smoke. He knows Knight is him. Now we'll see WE, who played on that mid wave, gonna back off, get some resets going, get a little bit more vision up towards this top side barren side of the map, and we'll still have a little bit of a lull state here for BLG and WE. WE's lead has been chunked down. It is just about an even game now.
Oh, hang on. I'm just going to go in onto Monki. No flash on the jungler, but On actually already taken a pretty decent chunk of damage himself as well. Right now, everybody from BLG up towards the top side playing around this Baron. You've got Cube down bottom lane, does not have the teleport available to him, so you're not going to have that full 5-man from WE if you get engaged upon right here.
Dicey situation. There is Cube trying to get as much gold as he can. Isn't actually going to finish off that turret there. Obviously, we have almighty vision. We know he was just going to be fine, but actually maybe. Is it enough? The minions?
I think it's just about enough right here.
It's just enough.
Yep.
He did it.
Perfectly timed.
Latent turret take. Calculated, says Cube. As about takes this turret shot. It's fine. Everything's fine. Reset is there for either side, though. And I do wonder now that we are getting a little bit further along in these builds, how this next fight is going to look like. Still a lot of power from the jungle. We're starting to creep up in power from other positions as well, Bloxxer.
Yep. I mean, look at Knight right now. He's in a very strong spot. Got himself that 10-stack rower. Already completed 3 stacks on the Dark Seal as well. If Knight's able to hit a big shockwave, in the previous team fight he only hit it onto 1 member, and Monki took a huge chunk of damage, and that's one of the tankier members overall from this squad. If he can land that onto the backline, if a battle cars get tagged by that shockwave, it's just going to completely ruin any hope of being able to play out these team fights. So for WE, Knight's got to be one of their key targets. Unfortunately, of course, phase rushed up an Orianna. It's pretty tough to be able to actually catch on top of Knight unless he mispositions quite badly, so they just have to be keeping on watching out for that one. Minute 25 until the next Drake is going to spawn. Again, sole point for WE if they can grab it, but I think they'd love to grab a pick before going for one of these big team fights again.
Yeah, and if they don't find it, they could give it. Obviously, every Infernal Dragon that BLG gets is scarier and scarier, but if it's not the time, maybe it's not the time. See how they do about setting up around that one, but soul point would be very nice for WE if they can actually get that here. It's going to be a little bit of side wave pressure, and Monki's actually looking to clear some out in the mid lane too. And it looks like a very relatively top-sided approach to this dragon spawning, as BLG waiting in the bush, seeing if Karis would overextend.
Usually a pretty good bet, but Karis instead not going to overextend on this one, and actually has done pretty well so far. Uh-oh, Bin.
Bin is not tanky here. He's going to flash. He is scared, but the Hextech ultimatum, it comes for us all. Arha gets a kill onto the solo lane of Bin.
There we go. Now, what can WE do with this? They're going to land a change of corruption.
On getting chomped down. Monkey super speedy. The piercing arrow not enough. The hail of arrows not enough. Monkey still wants it. On smidgen of health left, under 100 there.
He really, really wanted him, and if you're able to pick up that kill onto the support and the top lane, it could potentially have been that top lane play. Go for the Baron as well. Instead, just going to peel back along, go towards this Drake. Now, Jun is in the area, does have himself the ulti available, but
they're all going to back.
If he goes flying in, and yeah, so it's going to be the full resets out of BLG.
This is this what they call the defending time? Is this what BLG the defending time? They don't attack while they're defending, right? That's what they...
Yep.
Oh no, Bin. He's going to get the solo cam focus. I bet we're going to get a slow-mo in here somewhere.
And this is even worse to be watching whilst you look at the map right now, where you see there were resets coming through from multiple people, right? Your bot lane was thinking about taking a reset, Jun was taking a reset, we jumped back out and actually there's already skirmishing going on once again. Obviously everybody respawned out of BLG, and now the Baron is going to be that main focus on getting caught again right here.
These disconnects are just killing them here. So, Shun was looking on a backline flank. Didn't find what he was looking for, and On needs to back away a little bit quickly. Still do have a ton of summoner spells here, and honestly it feels like BLG are just trying to see how tough WE is in a lot of these fights. I think Bin knows, the rest of the team maybe doesn't know just yet, but in these kinds of situations we are obviously seeing BLG play a very reserved game. It feels like they're okay taking this a little bit later into the game, especially with how far behind Viper was put.
Yeah, very much so. You think, hey, Viper's had a pretty bad early game, we're just going to give him some more time to get back into a good spot, but he's not really been able to stabilize too well. He's got, what, a little bit of a Last Whisper going on in inventory, whereas that's a full another item. That's a full Night's Edge, completed for a bout, so he's just in a significantly stronger spot. And the Corki, when you're playing from behind, he has to get pretty close to be able to deal his full damage with the Gatling gun.
Well, if About goes that way, maybe it doesn't matter. On is now the focus as he will dash his way out. Karis almost dies. Shun able to tank a decent amount there, and the rest of WE immediately have to back off. We thought they were in a good position. We thought they were strong. But BLG find the angle onto About during his walk. And that's going to be something they almost paid the hefty price for there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And this is the thing with having some real aggressive plays out of On. Maybe sometimes he goes in and he gets a little bit caught out and chunked out and maybe even dies. But a lot of the time he's going in, finding these multi-man grand entrances and just opening up the game for BLG, putting them in a spot where they can chase forwards. It hasn't fully paid out for them yet, but if he keeps trying, he is at some point going to find a couple members flashless, knock them up, and then you're going to be in a great spot as BLG to fully put your mark on this game and get back to at least even.
Still a decent lead here developed for WE. They've been holding on for a good while now. 27-40 in. WE have had a lead for most of it. Yeah, not expanding it, but you know, holding it against BLG is one thing.
That's true. That's true. You know, we cannot be holding WE to too high of a standard right here, considering they're currently searching for their first win of the entire split. Monki gonna look to steal away this blue buff again, establishing lots of control around the bot side, but
nice
good pillar, otherwise he was gonna be so dead.
Oh, and then now they're gonna try to catch On. Hextech ultimatum is there, but now Knight is just killing About, even with the Hex belt, and Viper is the one that gets the kill. 0 and 5. All of a sudden he's found 2 kills, and he's back in the game, baby.
Okay, and now you can just push forwards onto this tower. Karis having to turn tail and run. Monki, bit of aggressive pathing right here, desperately trying to keep this tower alive. And once again, Cube is not involved in anything whatsoever for his team. One of the lowest kill participation, the lowest kill participation in the entire world for Tier 1 esports. And really showing up right here with his Cassante. Just pushing bot lane. They're losing a mid lane Tier 2, but he pushed bot lane.
He killed the minions really good.
He did that. He has one assist in this game.
They did lose turrets in the mid lane, unfortunately. On almost gets caught here, and does indeed get caught. But Knight just completely destroys About.
And that's the thing, right? We've been talking about how much damage Knight can do when he just pops that full ulti onto multiple members. Well, he doesn't have to. Multiple times in a row, he's just hit onto a single member, blown them up, and then what can you do in this situation? For as strong as a bout is at the moment, 3 items, nearly 4 items completed, he needs some space to be able to work with, and Knight just walked at him. Really impressive from him right there, and I mean, with the Rocket Belt as well, the extra level of gap close has been really helpful so far.
And now he's sitting on the Rabadon's death cap, going to be feeling really good. Shockwave combo with the delivery service of On. WE stood no chance. It's another double kill coming through for Viper, who is about to even his KDA up after everything that's happened. WE have just lost that lead, the thing they carved so eloquently in that early game. It is snowballing right back at them. 3,000 gold down, and it's going to get worse.
It is indeed. This mid lane tier 3 tower going to fall as well. They can take the inhibitor if they want it, but I think in this situation, just leave it. Don't be pouring any extra gold over into the WE members. Instead, pull back, grab themselves this Drake, taking away soul point from WE, getting themselves a second Infernal Drake of the game. And the reset just before Baron as well, going to put massive gold into their back pockets.
This Shockwave, insane.
About's just stood way too far forward. You're playing Varus. You have to sit further back than that. You cannot afford to be stepping up anywhere near as much as he is. I know that he wants to be hitting a little bit more onto his opponents at the moment, right? He's not playing that full sit as far back as possible build, but at some point you have to recognize the fact that Knight is your opponent on Orianna with Shockwave up, and you just cannot be there.
You just can't. It's little mistakes like that that can cost so much, and you just all of a sudden see like a 5,000 plus gold swing in favor of BLG, and all of a sudden that mountain is standing tall in front of you once again as WE. The hurdle they have not been able to reach, the hurdle that they seemingly started to climb over in the early game of this game, honestly for 27 minutes of this game. That ain't just the early game, but it's BLG who arrives nonetheless. And now they just have full control over the map, over even WE's side of the jungle, and they can be the ones that kind of lead the pace of the rest of this game. Speaking of, the pace is about to quicken. Nice pillar coming out from Monki, kept the damage dealers back though, so BLG can't find the kills they were looking for.
And I mean, hey, that's something, right? That's a big ulti taken off of the board from On for a little while, and gives you a little bit of extra breathing space as WE, but things are just getting worse and worse at this point, right? Serpent's Fang coming on through for Bin, so he's going to be cutting through any of that shielding that was so useful to the squad.
I'm going to have to flash away there, actually.
Okay.
A little dicey.
It was so nice while it lasted. You know, there were some real moments of hope right here for WE, but their mid games have been pretty bad, and this late game as well, where they just haven't been able to accelerate the pace of the game at any point. They did their absolute most to claw themselves to a 1.5k gold lead, and then BLG win one team fight, and they're up by 3,000 gold. I mean, it's so rough to see. As a WE fan, this has to be pretty painful to watch, but even as a neutral observer, you're cheering for them to just get one win, and anytime they do put themselves in a decent spot, they cannot capitalize.
It's tough. It is a tough place to be. And again, I feel for the players. They're putting in all their effort to try to make this work, and it just hasn't worked. But it's, and I hate to continue trying to be the silver lining guy, but
no, hit me.
At least they get to play this amount of games.
Be positive.
Where a lot of teams don't have that benefit in Group Nirvana. As we actually see a little bit of side lane play. Karis is a little bit disconnected from Cube and is not going to be ran down. Shun decided to go on a Cube, as now he's going to fall to the alcove gameplay. Oh, that was kind of cool. Ben and Sun combine at the same time to take down Cube. It is WE who get an outer turret in mid lane though.
They do. That's a little bit of gold back into their pockets. Maybe stems the bleeding for them a little bit. But now you've got to go and send Karis down into the bottom lane to try to deal with Bin, which is not a particularly good matchup right here. You could just be under threat constantly. You can see Huntin is at least going to step back, and now BLG could potentially just turn onto this Baron and start it up. They are indeed going to do that. Monki is in the area, but how is he going to be able to get himself into the pit? Teleport coming in from Bin as well.
Oh, TP coming in from Karis, a little bit on the back line here. Arha saving his hook shot. He didn't go in. Trying to buy some time here. Viper it's just going to run him down. Viper does real damage now. You have to be careful. Some really good pokes coming in from about with these piercing arrows. Karis still has the flank. He'll be spotted out in the Baron. Will end up getting reset here. So Monki able to clear out some more vision there. And WE, they hold strong in the storm of BLG.
Hey, this is what we've been asking for right from BLG, to just play a little bit slower. You know, don't have to necessarily go and fling yourself at your opponent in every single situation. Instead, recognize that this wasn't a good spot for them to fight, step back a little bit, take some resets. I mean, look, you've got 4 items now fully completed on Viper. 11 stack Medjay is sat in inventory for Knight as well. He is so unbelievably strong at this point in the game. Take your resets, spend your gold, and come back out onto the map, because just constantly daring WE to step up to you and go for these engages and push you off of these objectives is putting WE in an uncomfortable position that they're not good at playing.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, how based is it that Knight might actually reach 2 games of 20 Magi stacks? That'd be kind of nuts. It's a lot of Magi's for a guy that really likes Magi's.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, okay. They're going to try to walk in here. I mean, the dragon is important. It'd be soul point, obviously, for BLG, but it would be soul for WE. They just have to be a little bit cautious of how they enter these fights. They do have Monki, who needs to kind of be forward and center. Cube needs to find his space as well. Karis has a flank again.
Can he find anything with this right here? BLG just walking up.
Little knockup on a Monki. Monki's lost a lot of health. Shun will get his GA popped eventually. On's getting a little bit low. Karis found a big engage. A little bit split now. Cube is getting worked down by Viper, who finally finds that kill here. Now Karis trying to dash away. About is left by himself. Will end up flashing away, but he gets flashed on nonetheless again. And Sun comes in with the Grand Starfall, finds the stun, finds the kill. And Ben went ahead and cleaned up Arha. It does not look like today will be the day that WE find their first game win. It's looking like a 2-0 sweep for BLG.
Absolutely. Monki at least going to be able to cut off this mid lane wave, so the game will not end right now, right here. But it is going to be soul point going over to BLG. They are winning every single one of these team fights. And a really underrated aspect of that previous team fight was Knight landing a pretty big shockwave onto a couple of key members. Didn't blow anybody up, but cut the engage of WE off in its tracks. Allowed Viper to go get a little bit of a flank off of his own and just run at his opponents. And at this point, the Corki has well and truly caught back up and does plenty of damage. Now Monki just desperately trying to run away with the dead man's play. Is pretty fast overall, but
go Monki,
is just
go.
Gonna get caught here.
Go Monki, go. Oh, he got the fly. Okay, Shun was a little angry for that one.
Hey, the speed ups, the embers.
Go Monki,
the embers.
go get the Infernal Cinders. Oh, okay. Well, the party ends. Monkey's crying in a corner. He's laughing though on the screen, which is happy. But it does mean that BLG have ballooned that lead to almost 6,000 gold. We're gonna break down exactly how that went down.
I mean, watch right here for Knight. He's going to land a really nice shockwave onto multiple people right about here, pulling everybody in, and then just stopping Monki and Cube from doing their thing, being able to fully burst damage down on some of these squishier members. Jun obviously also has the GA, so he's able to come back, but it allows Viper that bit of flank potential coming onto the top side. And then this rundown's just really nice. I mean, there's not a whole lot more you can do. You can see the picture-in-picture, though. WE is stealing away the Baron, and they're going to get it.
BLG were able to claim that one, and everything's red, Bloxxer. That's what we're understanding here.
Yeah. BLG getting the Baron, obviously.
They did also kill Arha, unfortunately.
Yep.
So now they'll be able to take this top lane turret, and yep, it's looking a little done. But hey, WE gave us some hope in this game, and I think that's more than we could ask for them.
Oh, yeah.
And especially with things the way they've been going, I'd love to see them kind of pushing the buttons of BLG. BLG arrive again to the top side, take down the turret, looking for the inhib now as well. Grand Starfall coming in from Shun. He's going to go straight for Cube, who does lose about half his health, but is just fine afterwards. Karis is pushing out that mid lane, and BLG actually going to back away now.
play with some respect right here. You know, you've got a big set of shutdowns on top of the heads of basically all of your members other than On, and so there's no reason to over-aggress right now, give away anything too much with these Baron-empowered recalls. They're going to be back out onto the map very, very quickly to keep on getting involved. 2 minutes 40 seconds until the next Drake is going to spawn. No real need to be playing around that one particularly at all for BLG. They're hoping to wrap this game up a lot quicker than that is going to be coming through, and at this point a single pick onto an out position WE member is just going to end this game.
It could indeed. I think they've done a fun job of kind of delaying the final push from BLG time and time again, and being able to see them kind of clear these waves out from behind BLG. But a final siege is definitely in the cards as BLG approaches their bot lane. There's still a tier 2 tower out here, so some defense, but won't last long.
I mean, Cube's in the top side. Once again, he is actually going to take a reset, come back down to try to play around his team potentially. Karis, again, pushing the mid lane, just trying to give them less options to try to play around, but at this point it's so very difficult for people to step up to clear out these Baron-empowered cannon minions. Just about, with those piercing arrows, trying his absolute best to deal the damage.
He really is, but change of corruption going to go wide. Unfortunate there. Turret is about half health now. Some poke coming in from BLG too. Karis is still pushing the mid lane. He's going to find a tier 2 turret himself.
Yeah, it's something.
He sent some gold back home, hoping that it helps the troops at the base. Oh, they got the double engage now coming in. Great entrance from On. Monkey's getting low. Monkey's burning. The pierce, no, it's not enough. Piercing arrow coming out from about to try to get some of these minions. I don't think he was able to hit them though, unfortunately. Monkey's back out now, having healed up. Cube's about half health too. Shun is playing a little bit. Viper is going to get engaged on by Karis. Shun does still have GA, so he can buy a lot of time here. Karis goes for the play. He goes golden. He unfortunately is going to be left to the wolves. Those wolves being BLG, and they have assembled the pack. Some Infernal Cinders are going to explode here. Arha is going to go for Bin. They do find him. The defense is going to hold here for WE as BLG start turning tail and running.
Yeah, I mean, you have to at this point. You are getting way too low, and the chase could potentially still be on for the WE members. They're not quite going to chase anybody else down to death. I don't know if you could actually clear these minions, though. The minions are going to take down that second Nexus tower. And the full reset's coming on through, but for BLG, you've got every single inhibitor down. You have super minions constantly pouring out of your base, and there's 10 seconds until the Infernal Soul is available to you. Yes, you don't win the game, but all of the cards are still in their favor.
They are the dealer and the player at this point. I don't know how Monkey's going to try to steal this one. He might have a chance to. He's out here early.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta step up, right? You're desperately trying to scrape together enough gold for another item, potentially, if this game keeps going long enough. But with all of these super minions pouring in, they've just got to send so many people back towards the base to keep clearing these ones out. Cube's not really got any good wave clear for these supers. Yeah. No, I mean,
realizes that if he gives his life, it's just the base defense is near impossible.
Yeah, I mean, even if you don't, you've now got Infernal Soul as well for BLG. Not the biggest gold lead, right? They're only up by about 4,500 gold, but they haven't needed to be any further. Double teleports coming in as well. This is going to be it.
You can hear the hooves pounding on the ground as BLG make a final stampede towards WE. Use the blast cone over, and the minions are just going to start flooding in. Double super minions coming through for BLG. Karis on a flank. One last ditch effort for WE. One last ditch moment against BLG. The final time they're going to see them this split. It's been 2-0s every time. Can WE pull it back? It does not look like it. They have extended too far outside their base. Their arm cut off at the half. And Ben goes to the backline play. Using his hammer to swing WE around. And that's a full-on ace. BLG 2-0 WE. And they go 0-8.
Ay. It was better, Mazel, it was better. That early game was overall much, much better from WE. They had moments, right? That was Monki at some of his best, right? Getting really aggressive down in the bottom lane, picking up a couple of kills. I really do wish for WE that About was able to grab more of those early kills because he might have been able to accelerate the pace of the game a bit more, but whatever. We got to see a fun Camille out of Arha. All of these fun things. In the end, though, WE, they just don't have a top lane to play around. Karis was okay in this game, you know, he wasn't falling that far behind, but Knight was just better, more useful, able to play a lot more for his team, and it's just so rough to see.
Yeah, it's a tough place to be in for WE. That early game, man, there were some things in there, like the focus towards bot side. Again, every time they do it, it looks good. It looks like it could possibly mold into something. But then those mistakes towards that mid game, this time it was a little bit later on in the game as well. Leading the game for 27 minutes. I'll give them one thing. They made BLG sit in a lobby, or at least in this game too, for 45 minutes, or like 40 minutes, sorry, not 45. Yeah. Which some teams can't even say they've done.
Nope.
It's little participation trophies for WE. That's all we got.
Exactly, and again, all we're really looking for from WE from this split is, well, hopefully they win a single game, which they might be able to. They've got another matchup versus Weibo in a couple of weeks, so that's something to potentially be playing towards for them. And then also, once you get into those play-ins, just beat some of these Group Nirvana teams. I mean, it's very easy to look at WE and go, easily the worst team in the league. They're not. All of these Group Nirvana teams are, if not worse than them, about on par, right? LNG have the opportunity to be that team at the bottom of Group Ascend, and they weren't able to capitalize on it. They lost to this WE, right? So WE, they deserve to be here, and they're getting all of this practice versus good teams. These are all these good things. But again, it's just rough, and we really are scraping at, grasping at straws at this point to find good things to say about them. For BLG, what the heck was that? That is not the kind of gameplay we're expecting out of international champs, out of a team this good, this talented. You shouldn't be taking 40 minutes to overcome WE.
This was maybe one of the most loose series I've ever seen BLG play. They were all over the place, man. There were so many calls that were happening with other people that were full screens away from them. Obviously, they brought it back together, and like obviously they won the series. You can't slight them for that. There were some interesting plays, especially in game number 1. that one for sure.
Yeah.
But honestly, we also saw like the most miraculous comeback from Viper, who started 0-5 and ended up being a major force in the final fights.
And very much so. And the way he was able to just keep chugging along, right? Didn't lose his head, didn't lose his cool, was just constantly looking for those plays. And at some point as a Corki, you will get a couple of items under your belt. You will get yourself a Mirror Mana and a Trinity Force, and then you can start going and doing things too. And it felt like the second he got that 3-item spike, he was like, okay, I can step up a little bit now. And a big bit of praise over towards Knight and On for constantly finding ways to get Viper involved. They were doing a heck of a lot of the heavy lifting, some great shockwaves, some great grand entrances, really good on the ulti as well out of On to just pull people into a little ball and allow Viper to do his damage. And the second he started getting a couple of kills and then got those item breakpoints as we were talking about, that's when he was able to start doing stuff for himself rather than relying on the rest of the team. And it is nice to be able to rely on your team when you don't have such a good early game and you can't just do it yourself.
I think Knight gets a second game MVP and gets the
game
play
series,
of the series, 100%.
5-0 and 15 in this game.
He
which
is the adult in the
Orion
room. He is the guy that's telling people to calm down and sit in their chairs.
Yes, very, very much so. I mean, the way that he plays is just like, it's no nonsense. He's not looking for that big, random, flashy play. I feel like that's what he used to do a lot more in his career. When he was a little bit younger, a little bit more hot-headed, he would go for that 1v9 kind of play, and it worked most of the time, right? It's Knight. But it didn't always work, whereas now he doesn't go for those insane plays anywhere near as much as he just, again, keeps chugging along. He's going to do the right thing at every moment and just be better than your opponent.
That gold dip, man. Oh, that is brutal.
Look at the Viper damage, though. He was in the dirt early on. And I mean, you've got 3 champions over 40k damage versus barely any damage from anybody other than about at all.
Arha looked really good on the Camille.
It's good in laning phase. It's good in laning phase, but once you get into the team fights, you need a top laner to play around, and
Yeah.
Cube's not involved. You need a mid lane to play around, and Karis was trying. He was looking for some flanks, but he's not going to find you a big advantage in the mid lane solo versus Knight. That's just not going to happen. So I don't know where else you're going to be able to play for Aha, other than just keep trying to pump kills into the jungle and into the bot lane, and that they tried it worked, and it still just wasn't enough.
They just had to show this. And just like, Viper, remember what happened, dude. We know. We all saw it. Bye-bye, doggy. Bye-bye. Unfortunate there, though. In the end, though, I do think that being able to see at least some life out of WE, that's going to feel good. I think also being able to see Knight continue to work with this Ocean champion pull that he's been willing to pull out in Split 2 has been awesome to see. And I do wonder what the slight fluctuations are going to be looking like. I mean, obviously, the series, or at least season, is not even close to being over. Both teams going into that second round robin. BLG will face NIP, like you had mentioned earlier, a team they just lost 2-0 for, a team they're going to be looking for redemption for, and now they are on a 2-0 streak going into that series.
If I'm NIP, I'm worried. I'm worried about this matchup versus BLG, because you've just lost to JDG in what was a pretty bad loss overall, right? It felt like JDG were pretty comfortable overall throughout the series that we saw earlier on today. And now you're staring down at the barrel of a BLG who clearly are beatable, who have made a lot of mistakes, and you were able to capitalize on last time around. But this is also a BLG who have just the best mid laner. Knight is playing out of his dang mind at the moment, and are you going to be able to overcome that? I'm not so sure. I wouldn't be particularly surprised if in the end NIP and BLG split their series, a win for BLG, a win for NIP. For NIP, if you're able to grab this series a second time though, they're looking so sneaky strong. I mean, if you're just looking at it, if you watched all of last year and then have just jumped into this, you're like, what the heck is happening with NIP? But they're looking good.
Yeah, they are. It's going to be a really interesting series. And then for WE, I know you're talking a little bit about the Weibo series later on in the split, but not gonna lie, Bloxxer doesn't get any easier here, as they'll face JDG and IG next as well, then Top Esports after that Weibo series. So
the worrying thing about this for WE is just looking at Weibo as the next worst team. They've won 3 series, so 3 individual series, but it's more than that. It's the fact they've got 9 game wins for themselves. Even when they're losing, they are still picking up a win versus an opponent. Even when WE were the worst team in the league during Split 2 last year, they were constantly still picking themselves up a win. They were 1 and 2 merchants, constantly winning the first game and then collapsing in on themselves for the next 2. But at least they got 1. You had something to build around. It's right now where you've got nothing at all for yourself. It just feels so rough to watch, and I really hope the players are doing alright. You know, Monki taking that little break, he seemed to come out swinging in this game. I think there's plenty to build off of in this one, but it does just suck as a situation.
It does, but it is the end of the show. 2-2-0s tonight as BLG finished out the night at 2-0 over WE. Continue fighting for that first place in Group Ascend, and W will keep fighting for their first game win. Thank you so much, Bloxxer, for joining. I do want to give a huge shout out before we get going to our Elite Coffee supporters. Obviously, a lot of support going our way, and it's always very felt and very impressive how much love is given to this product. So thank you all so much. Bloxxer, last words, any final thoughts?
Come on, WE. You've got one. I believe it. I believe you've got one. It's not happened versus BLG, but it's going to happen versus Top Esports. I believe.
All right. Well, we'll see in the post who gets that player of the series, but I'm sure it's Knight anyways. Good night, all. We will see you tomorrow for more LPL English, and we'll see you on Summoner's Rift.